Urgent. Archangel Michael says this is the ultimate sacrifice. Skip this, and he will vanish from your life. Open immediately. Beloved soul, I come to you now across the hush of midnight and the bright hush of morning, across the thin places in time where your breath meets the world and the world meets your longing. Hear me as one who has stood at the edge of battles and beside those who have chosen courage when everything inside them screamed to run. Hear me as one who loves you without condition, whose blade is both shield and light, whose purpose is to remind you of the sovereignty of your own heart. You may have felt it, a tug at the edges of your life, a quiet that grows louder the longer you ignore it. There are crossroads that do not announce themselves with trumpets. They come as a hush, a shifting of air in the small hours, a memory that refuses to be silent. This is such a moment. This message is urgent not because I seek to frighten you, but because I see how the currents of your choices can shape more than one lifetime. I come to guide you through an act that is not what the world calls sacrifice. This is the ultimate sacrifice that births freedom, the relinquishing of what keeps you bound to a lesser fate. Understand first what is being asked. Many speak of sacrifice as loss. You have been taught to see sacrifice as giving up, of comfort, of pleasure, of hope. But there is a higher view. Sacrifice chosen with sovereignty becomes transformation. The ultimate sacrifice I call you toward is not the giving away of your worth, but the courageous surrender of the internal bartering that says, I will be small to keep you. I will dim my light so you may not feel threatened. I will own your pain as my punishment so I can be safe from my own desire. This is the sacrifice that keeps hearts tethered to ghosts. It is the slow trade of your agency for someone else's approval. It is the quiet compulsion to fix what cannot be fixed for you, to stay in a relationship as if endurance were holiness, to believe that your constant giving will someday be returned as a certificate of love. Listen, that exchange is not holy. It is a chain. To choose the ultimate sacrifice is to cut that chain with intentional love. It is to say with full breath and trembling hands, I will no longer barter my soul for belonging. I will not remain where my light is siphoned into another's fear. I will offer instead my whole presence to that which honors me, to truth, to goodness, to reciprocity. This is both frightening and luminous. It will make some people step back. It will make others reveal themselves. But whatever comes, you will stand clearer. Do not mistake this for cold withdrawal. This is not a refusal to love. It is the courageous reordering of how you love. You are called to love without the currency of self-abnegation. You are asked to build boundaries, not as walls of exile, but as luminous gates that protect your sacred work. Imagine a temple. Its doors are not shut to the world. They are guarded so that what enters may be holy. That is the posture I ask you to hold. There will be tests. The ego will weave 1,000 reasons to hold on. The voice of what if will finger the frayed edges of your courage. You will be told, perhaps by the very person who has asked so much of you, that you are cruel for choosing yourself. Know this. Reproach is an old currency of control. When you step into your dignity, some will attempt to debt you with their stories. Their hurt is not your obligation to carry. You may choose compassion, but you are not required to make yourself small to contain another's shadow. The path I lay before you can be walked in small breath-sized acts, or in a single, decisive moment. You may choose a slow unclenching, the steady redrawing of boundaries, the honest speaking of your needs, the refusal to respond to baited guilt. Or you may choose a sharp act that severs ties that have become harmful beyond repair. Both are holy. Both are necessary, depending upon the truth you live within. If you fear the consequence, if you fear that this sacrifice will cause someone to vanish, understand there are two kinds of vanishing. There is the vanishing that is loss, heavy and hollow, leaving you bereft. There is also the vanishing that is liberation, a release of what never belonged to you. When someone vanishes because you no longer supply them with fuel they used to burn, you are not causing their disappearance in malice. You are allowing natural law to do its work. People who loved you for what you could give and not for who you are will recede when the supply ends. That is not your failing. It is the truth of discerning love. Now, practical guidance. For spirit without form becomes wind without direction. These steps are not commandments. They are tools. Take them, adjust them to your life, and use them when your heart trembles. First, reclaim your breath. When you are about to respond from a place of fear or duty, place your hand over your heart and breathe slowly 3 times. Ground into the wonder of being alive in this moment. The breath returns sovereignty to your body and interrupts the reflex to surrender. Second, speak clearly. Practice short, honest sentences. I need rest. I choose to leave. I cannot take that on. You need not explain at length. Your voice becomes clear when your declarations are simple. Use I statements. They do not require approval. Third, hold ceremony for your endings. Whether your sacrifice is a boundary or a severance, mark it. Light a candle, write a letter you never send, take a walk to the place where you felt most held. Say to the sky what needs to be named. This honors the part of you that grieves and affirms your choice to move forward. Fourth, create a covenant with yourself. Write down what you will no longer do. Make it plain. These are your terms of engagement with life and love. The covenant is the scaffold of your new life. Return to it when doubt comes and read it aloud. Fifth, gather allies. You are not meant to be a solitary warrior. Find 1 or 2 tender witnesses who will not try to fix you, but will witness your courage. These are people who can hold the ache without trying to cure it, who meet your darkness with steady light. Sixth, do the small, repetitive things that restore your center. Sleep when you are tired, eat with care, move your body in ways that feel good, stand barefoot on the earth when you can. These acts are not indulgence. They are the maintenance of your inner temple. Seventh, forgive yourself. The old bargains you made did not happen from weakness alone. They happened from survival. You did what you could with the tools you had. Say to yourself, I forgive the part of me that made those bargains. I release it. Forgiveness here is not to absolve injustice. It is to free your heart from the past so it can act with present clarity. Eighth, keep an eye upon reciprocity. Relationships aligned with your soul will flex to meet you. They will offer back what you give. They will show gratitude not as a ledger, but as a natural reflection. When you start to act in accordance with your boundaries, observe who adjusts and who does not. Let that observation be your teacher. Now I will speak plainly of romance, for this is often the theater where the ultimate sacrifice is most misunderstood. You may cling to someone because you cannot imagine the life beyond them, or because your identity has fused with a story that includes them. If staying requires that you become less of your true self, if it asks you to silence your intuition, if it continually empties you while promising a future that never arrives, it is a lie dressed as love. The healthy heart does not demand you eradicate yourself for its survival. Beware of the slow logic of entitlement, the belief that because someone has invested time or emotion in you, they own a portion of your future choices. Love is not possession. It is a mutual expansion. If your presence is a leash, you are not in love. You are in a contract that seeks to bind. To those who fear the solitude that may come after such a sacrifice, hear me. Solitude is not the enemy. In the quiet, you will find yourself again. In the silence, you will hear the call of your deeper longing, the whisper of gifts you have deferred. Solitude can act as a workshop where the soul retools and reemerges. There will be nights of ragged grief. You will miss what could have been. You will grieve the shape of the life you once imagined. Let the grief come. Weep. Name the loss. Let the tears be a river that cleanses old imagining. In the days after, tend to yourself gently. Do not rush the newness. Allow slow integration. And know this: when you choose courage, the cosmos rearranges in small, generous ways. Doors you did not see open. People arrive who mirror what you have chosen to be. Opportunities surface with an almost comic timing, as if the world is glad to meet the version of you who finally stands. There are spiritual practices you may adopt to keep your heart steady. Call upon my presence when you wake and before you sleep. Ask me only for clarity and courage. Pray not for vindication, but for wisdom. Archangel Michael, give me the courage to say what must be said and the mercy to hold the consequences. Carry a small stone or a ribbon as a talisman, something tactile to remind you of the covenant you have made with your soul. If you are in danger, physical danger, seek immediate safety and the help of authorities where possible. This message does not replace practical measures for immediate threat. The ultimate sacrifice should never mean staying in harm's way under the belief that endurance equals redemption. Safety is a sacred duty. If your heart aches from betrayal, be deliberate with response. Betrayal demands accountability, not immediate erasure of the self. Ask for truth. Demand boundaries. If truth is not offered or harm persists, the ultimate sacrifice may be to withdraw and to protect your center. The distance is not punishment, it is clarity. You might ask, what about compassion for those who will suffer when I choose me? Compassion is not incompatible with self-preservation. You may move with kindness, explain as honestly as your boundaries allow, and still say no. You may choose farewell with tenderness. People are not diminished by your courage. They are invited to become responsible for themselves in ways they may never have had to be. Now, a word about faith. Faith is not the absence of fear. It is the commitment to act despite fear. When your hands shake and your voice is thin, choose faith. It will carry you beyond the paralysis of indecision. Faith is an act of will as much as a movement of spirit. Speak to it, cultivate it, and let it become the muscle that supports you when the world pulls hard. There will be false prophets who name your boundary as sin or selfishness. Their voices may be loud because they fear their own reckoning. You need not argue with every judgment. Use discernment. If the counsel you receive diminishes your dignity or asks you to repeat patterns that dismantle you, set it aside. Seek wise counsel that honors both truth and tenderness. Remember, God's love for you is not contingent upon your staying small. The divine does not ask you to disappear so that another may feel whole. The divine will not require your diminishment as proof of devotion. Divine love glories in your wholeness. When you come into your integrated self, you do not betray the sacred, you fulfill it. Beloved soul, I am still with you, and the words I pour into your spirit are not meant to fade but to echo in you until they become your own voice. In the beginning, I told you of the ultimate sacrifice, of how it is not loss but liberation. Now, As we walk further together, I must show you how this sacrifice unfolds across the days and nights of your journey, so you may not falter when storms rise. There will come a moment when you will look back and doubt yourself, when you will wonder if the old patterns of surrendering and bartering were easier than the trembling freedom you now hold. This is natural, for the familiar always tries to pull the heart back to what it once knew. But remember, ease is not always aligned with truth. What is comfortable is not always sacred. I tell you, discomfort is often the doorway into transformation. Walk through it and do not fear the shadows that greet you, for even they carry lessons that will refine your soul. Each time you resist the urge to diminish yourself, you are laying another stone upon the foundation of your true life. Each time you speak a clear boundary, even if your voice shakes, you are weaving light into the fabric of your destiny. Do not measure your progress by applause. Do not measure it by how others react. Measure it only by the integrity within you, by whether you are living closer to the truth of who you are meant to be. There will also be blessings hidden inside the trials. A new companion may come into your life, one who sees you as whole without asking you to fracture yourself. New opportunities may appear, not because you chased them, but because you finally created space for them to find you. This is the law of resonance. What is meant for you cannot arrive while you are occupied with what drains you. When you sacrifice the false, you make room for the real. I urge you to guard against despair, for despair is the thief of forward motion. When loneliness creeps in, light a single flame and sit with it. Let its quiet brilliance remind you that even the smallest spark defies the darkness. Speak aloud, even if only to the air. I am still here. I am still standing. I am still choosing. These words will carry weight in unseen realms, and I will answer them with presence you may feel as warmth, as a sudden peace, as a thought that clarifies the confusion. Do not think you must be perfect in this journey. You will stumble. You will forget. You will answer a call you should not have answered, or you will say yes when you meant no. Do not condemn yourself for this. Forgive quickly, correct gently, and step back onto the path. Perfection is not the requirement. Persistence is. Faithfulness is. A heart that returns to its promise even after faltering is a heart that cannot be defeated. I will tell you a secret that is not often spoken. Angels do not seek your worship, they seek your wholeness. We do not exist to be idols, but to be companions, reminders that you were created with a strength that mirrors heaven itself. When I urge you towards sacrifice, it is not for my gain. It is for your liberation. My presence remains, not because you are flawless, but because you are willing to rise again and again. So here is the closing truth for this part of your journey. The ultimate sacrifice will not strip you of love. It will refine the kind of love that surrounds you. It will separate the false from the true, the chains from the embrace, the shadow from the light. What vanishes in this process is not meant to remain. What remains will be holy, reciprocal, nourishing. When you next doubt, place your hand on your heart and say these words: I choose the path of wholeness. I sacrifice only what is false. I welcome only what is true. Say them aloud. Say them often, and let them become the rhythm of your days. And as you rest tonight, know that I, Archangel Michael, am watching, guarding, strengthening, and reminding you that you are never alone. The sacrifice you choose is not the end of love. It is the doorway to love's purest form. This is the end of this part, but not the end of my message. I remain with you, and the river of words continues. Stay open, for the next current will carry even deeper revelations into your soul. As we enter this third part of the message, I draw you deeper into the currents of truth that flow between heaven and earth. You have heard of the ultimate sacrifice. You have stood at the threshold of surrender, and now you must see what happens beyond that threshold. For the life that follows sacrifice is not emptiness, but expansion. When you release the chains that once bound you, your spirit becomes like a bird long caged. At first it trembles, unsure how to stretch its wings. But soon it remembers the instinct written into its being, and flight becomes inevitable. So too it will be with you. Do not be afraid of the open sky that awaits you. The vastness is not here to overwhelm you, but to welcome you. What once felt like loneliness will transform into freedom. You will taste the sweetness of your own company and find it nourishing. You will notice shifts within yourself, subtle at first, then undeniable. Where once you felt drained, strength will return. Where once silence felt heavy, it will begin to feel sacred. Where once you sought validation, you will now find satisfaction in knowing you are aligned with your higher truth. These changes are not illusions. They are the unfolding of the new covenant you have made with yourself. But with expansion comes responsibility. Freedom is not aimless wandering. It is a chance to choose consciously what you will create. I urge you to turn your attention toward the building of a new life rooted in clarity. Ask yourself, what do I desire to give? What do I long to create? What is the legacy of love I want to leave behind? These questions are not for later years. They are for this very moment. Answer them honestly, and they will light your way. I must also speak to you about patience. Do not expect that every blessing will arrive at once. The soil of your soul has been long pressed by the weight of false agreements, and it will take time for new seeds to break through. Trust the process. Water the seeds with daily faith, with prayer, with action that aligns with your vision. Every small act of alignment is a drop of rain that nourishes the new garden of your life. You may be tempted to return to what you left behind. The old bonds will whisper. Memories will surface like echoes, and you will wonder if the cost of change is too high. Hear me clearly. Do not mistake nostalgia for truth. The past will always appear softer when viewed through the haze of longing, but it was not soft when you lived it. Remember why you chose this path. Let memory teach, but do not let it enslave you. There will also be voices around you, questioning, doubting, or even mocking your choice. Some may accuse you of selfishness, others of recklessness. These voices are reflections of their own fear. Their resistance is not your burden. Walk steadily, even when misunderstood. The path of truth is often lonely before it becomes luminous. I am with you through every step, whispering courage into your bones. Now I give you a practice for this stage of your journey. Envision yourself surrounded by a sphere of golden light. Each morning, before you enter the world, call upon this light to shield and empower you. Say, I walk in divine truth. I walk in courage. I walk in love. Imagine this light expanding as you speak until you feel its warmth surround your entire being. This practice will remind you that you are never unprotected, never without guidance. Remember that relationships born of truth will not require you to diminish yourself. When new people arrive in your life, test their presence gently. Do they honor your boundaries? Do they celebrate your growth? Do they offer love without condition? These are signs that the divine has sent them as companions for your journey. If instead they ask you to compromise the covenant you have made with your soul, then they are not aligned. Release them with compassion and move forward. You may wonder how long this path will take. How long until joy feels natural again? The answer is not measured in days or months, but in choices. Each moment you choose truth over fear, each time you choose wholeness over compromise, you step into joy. Joy is not waiting at the finish line. It is scattered across the path, ready to be picked up each time you act in alignment. I must remind you again, you are not walking alone. My presence is not a metaphor. I am truly here, a guardian, a companion, a warrior who has pledged to stand with you. In moments of despair, call my name. In moments of doubt, speak my truth. Archangel Michael, strengthen me now. You may not always feel a blazing sign, but you will notice subtle shifts, a sudden peace, a door opening, a word of encouragement arriving at just the right time. These are not coincidences, they are confirmations. Beloved soul, this is your season of becoming. The ultimate sacrifice was only the beginning. What follows is the unveiling of your strength, the flowering of your purpose, the awakening of your deepest gifts. Do not turn back. The horizon is before you, and the dawn is already breaking. Walk on, and know that I walk with you.